I think that this government needs to be commended for the fiscal discipline that has been shown at the centre for the last few years. And I want to kind of emphasize that we've taken big reforms in the last year. This is a transitory shock. In my view, it's a bit of a supply shock, which is understandable after demonetization in GST. So you don't respond to a supply shock with a demand response. But B, because I think in the second half of this fiscal year, we will grow out of it. I think, overreacting by using fiscal or monetary would not be advisable. Finally,
not even monetary policy. So you don't think we need to loosen the monetary policy?
Well, I think monetary policy is constrained by where inflation goes. So if in fact we do see inflation above 4% in the first quarter of next year, that's going to constrain how much the MPC can move. I think the larger point is if global growth remains as strong and buoyant as the IMF forecasts, eventually that's going to spill over into India. We will see that later in the year and in 2018, our exports will do very well. So by all accounts, these global tailwinds should help growth in India in the second half of the year.
So if you don't think the Indian economy needs a fiscal stimulus, I would imagine as a corollary, you also don't think there's any need for the government to deviate from its path of fiscal prudence, fiscal consolidation, and therefore it should meet the fiscal deficit target?
Again, I think in the larger context here where the government's been very disciplined to its targets, if there's an exceptional circumstance in one particular year, and because we moved to the GST, revenues have undershot. If there's modest slippage in that account, I'm sure markets, ratings agencies, investors will see through that. As long as there is no fundamental shift in the fiscal consolidation path for the coming years, and for that I'm quite sure the government will stick to its fiscal path. So I think the key is to focus on the fact that we've taken big, game-changing structural reform. This can be dislocational for a few quarters. Markets have to learn not to get so excited or nervous or anxious. Wait through it. Some of these temporary supply shocks will reverse, growth will pick up. What you don't want to do is prematurely stimulate the economy like we have in the past, and for that to spill over into a larger external imbalance or higher inflation, and then you've got to sort of hit on the brakes and impede any incipient recovery. So I think the key is just to be patient here.